The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, welcome to this presentation about the IT Masters degrees from Sturt University. We've just got a couple of minutes before we start. We'll just leave that for anyone else that's going to arrive. Okay, it's just clicked over to 5 o'clock, so for once I'll start on time. Okay, a presentation, I call it University or Industry, and why not both? And what you'll see quite unique about the Master's degree we're going to talk about is the integration of either industry certifications or industry content within the Master degrees. I'll explain that as we go through. There'll be plenty of time at the end for questions. The good news for you is I won't be answering Neil's online, and he's our expert in that area, and he's one of his major roles is helping people go through the application process, so we'll talk about that as well. But again, there'll be plenty of time at the end. I won't do my normal and cut off the presentation at the end and chop everyone off. Okay, just a quick introduction. My name is Martin Hale. I'm the one in the suit there. I'm the CEO of IT Masters, and shortly I'll explain how IT Masters fits in. And I'm also an Adjunct Senior Lecturer at Sturt University. Just a quick explanation of some of the other people here. That the one in the graduation gown there is Scott Anderson. He was our first ever graduate way back in 2004. He graduated very quickly because he picked up a whole raft of credits because he was, amongst other things, a triple CCIE when he applied for the Master of Networking and System Administration. And the one in the lovely floppy hat there is Dr. Irfan Eltaz. He's the head of school for computing and mathematics. Just a quick agenda there. I think you'll find we'll cover most of what you want to ask, but as again, you've got plenty of time for questions. And on your way through, you should have a chat box up on your right. If you type in there, Neil will come back to you with answers about whatever you'd like to cover. So if it's something really burning that you need to ask, just type in there. If you get bored on the way through, that'll be fine.
Just use the question box, please, Martin, and I'll answer some questions as we go and throw some to Martin later too. So it's the question box that you'll see.
Thank you, Neil. Neil's up in Coffs Harbour, by the way. He's just complained it's only 26 up there, so it's freezing, he said. Okay, look, let's have a look at which Master's degrees. The group of Master's degrees which Charles Sturt called the IT Masters group. We started with a Master of Networking and Systems Administration way back in 2003, and we gradually expanded the Masters on the way through. So we've got Systems, Security, Project Management, very popular these days. A couple of management ones. And what's the difference? The Master of Management IT is focused on people moving into management or maybe in a supervisory type position. But if you're looking at moving from IT management into executive type management or higher level management, you should have a look at the Master of Business Administration Computing, MBA Computing. The one we've just launched, it's first intake, the upcoming session, which starts in a couple of days, is Cloud Computing and Virtualization. And another one which I add at the end, which is a bit different. All the rest are designed from the ground up for working IT professionals or project management professionals who are studying part-time. The Master of Mobile App Development is a bit different. It's for people who want to get into that area. Also people maybe have a bit of a development background and want to get into mobile app development. So if you're interested in that area. And the one right down the bottom, and I don't mean it's the lesser one, certainly the higher one, is the Doctor of IT. You would normally require a Master's with at least a Neil, is it a credit level or distinction level for a doctorate? You there, Neil?
No, Martin. Yeah. Now you would just need a master's or in IT or have computer experience, and you have to get a credit average while you're doing the doctorate on the first 4 research subjects. So you won't need any grading on your master's as long as you pass would get you into the doctorate.
Thank you, Neil. It saved me making another mistake there because I thought it was a credit average, but that's great. So you really need to pass your master, one of these masters or other masters to get in. We'll cover how long these take, but just to give an example, all the masters are 12 subjects in duration, which are running under a 3-semester model, which we do. You could get done in 2 years. The Doctorate of IT, and by that matter, also a Bachelor of IT, is 24 subjects. Doing it part-time, you'd be talking probably 6 years part-time. So the masters are a lot quicker, short, sharp qualification. The guy I mentioned earlier, Scott Anderson, finished in just over a year, but he got a lot of credit, as a lot of our students do. I mean, we certainly recognise industry certification, and Neil's an expert in that constantly changing area of what certifications will qualify you for what level of credit. Let's have a look at the structure. All of the masters, I'm not going to talk about the doctor, that's a separate, entirely separate area, so just concentrate on the masters here. All of the masters are 12 subjects, or other unis call them units or modules or credit points, a whole range, but Charles Sturt call them subjects. And they're all the same. They've got 6 what we call university subjects. They're the standard university postgraduate IT subjects or project management subjects or management subjects from their pool of subjects. And then we have really one of the things that makes these unique is 6 industry or industry certification based subjects, and they're generally based around you not only passing or doing the subject but also preparing for industry certification, whether it be Microsoft networking, Cisco internet working, Project Management Institute, PMP, those type of, all the mainstream industry certifications we try to cover, and the ones we can't cover in our subjects we generally will give credit providing they're a valid certification, and the assessment when we assess them that we should give credit for certification. So 6 and 6, 12 subjects for your masters. The normal study load is 2 subjects per session, and we don't have semesters, we have sessions. A bit of academic jargon there for you. We're now into sessions because we have 3 per year. There's actually a study session over Christmas. You do get a break for Christmas, by the way, but Christmas Day, but it is over. The advantage of that, of course, is you can complete your qualification that much quicker. The disadvantage is you don't get the breaks. Normally get a break. Sorry, Neil, to interrupt you, to wake you up again if you drifted off there. How much of the break between sessions, generally?
3 to 4 weeks, Martin.
No, thanks, Neil. Yep, so there's a good break there, the reasonable break. We find that suits industry people a bit better. It certainly suited me when I did my Masters. I'd rather not have a huge break over Christmas, a bit hard to get started again, so, but each their own. That's only a recommended. A lot of people will drop back to 1 or even no subjects, depending on their workload at work and obviously what's going on in the home. I'll just do an example structure. This is an example structure from the latest Masters, which is a Master of Cloud and Virtualization, just to give you an idea of what a Masters would look like, but obviously they all vary. Firstly, you'll have a group of core subjects here. These you have no choice. You have to do these subjects. We've decided, and the Industry Advisory Committee particularly have decided that these are, if you're going to graduate with a Master of Cloud Computing and Virtualization, you must do these subjects. As you'll see, they're all pretty much on topic if you're talking about cloud computing and virtualization. And look, if you're looking at other unis, and you should at doing who you should study with, have a good look at, make sure that the subjects are on topic There's too many ones I see which only got 2 or 3 that are really about the topic. And you're going to lose interest if that's the case. So this is, you'll see there's pretty much things like IT 531, architecting cloud solutions, built around the AWS Certified Architect certification. And the only one that stands out a bit different there is the ITC 571. That's what they call a capstone. You normally do it at the end or very near the end. And it's a mini research subject. I mean, a lot of the others are very hands-on applied. This one is you'd be researching something in the cloud virtualization space. But it's only a mini one, and it's really also designed to say, well, I might be interested in doing my doctorate one day. How do I feel about the whole research thing? So you'd have a go at and do a mini research paper at the end of it. And then you've got your 2 pools of electives, and we have what we call academic, but it's not that academic. If you have a look at it, it's very hands-on technical type stuff. But from a broader point of view, not so much skill-based. It's very much let's understand the theory of it, and also really broaden the way you think about it. And then over here we've got really much more applied subjects, which are what we call the industry subjects, and you've got to choose 3 and 2, and hopefully that adds up to 7. It does. 7 core, 2 and 3, there's your 12 subjects that you do. Just a couple of example subjects. I'll do project management to start off with, because it's a very popular course with us, project management. And here's an example of, when I said industry-based, this one is definitely it's designed to help you prepare for the Project Management Institute certifications. And they have 2. There's a Certified Associate Project Management and I have many certifications, but these are the 2 that will help you prepare for. CAPM, and the most famous of all industry certifications in project management, the Project Management Professional. So the content is very much based around the latest PMBOK, Project Management Body of Knowledge, and it's got a dual purpose, the subject. Along the way it'll help you prepare for your certification exams, but because we're a university and we can take it a bit further than that, and you'd see from the objectives down here, it's not simply about being able to answer the very challenging multiple choice exam that the Project Management Institute has for their PMP. You're also able to do things like develop and critically analyse the components of a master project management plan. It's pretty hard to critically analyse in a multi-choice exam, not impossible, but pretty hard. But we can do it because we can design the assessments around that. So you're a bit of, again, it's why these have been so successful. You'll see the numbers later on, enrolment numbers. It's not only the theory side of it, but the latest industry stuff as well that's embedded within it. How would we assess this one? We start with early in the session. We do remember, not semester, we're calling it a session. You do an online test, very much like the Project Management Institute exam, multiple choice. We call it a bit of a low stakes thing. It's got a dual purpose of seeing how you're going, but also alerting to us if you're struggling a bit. So that might be week 4 or 5 that you would do that out of the 14 to 15 week session. And then we get into the more meaty stuff, an article critique assignment. And you've got to, I mentioned the PMBOK before, the Project Management Body of Knowledge. They're talking about a project which appears to have failed here, and you've got to analyse it. So again, very hard to assess in a multi-choice exam, and then a final exam for 50%. All right. Let's get a bit more into the technical side. This is a university academic, what we call an academic subject, but not that academic as you can see. This one's network security. And here's an assessment. Look at number 2, decryption of a message encrypted with a symmetric cipher. I can't even say it. analyst of the DES encryption algorithm. And if you're working in cybersecurity, I hope that means something to you, but that's a typical example of a very applied assessment from what you've been studying. And I'll do a final, just quick example one. Is an industry-based cybersecurity subject. The most in demand, easily the most in demand industry certification in cybersecurity is CISP. Certified Information System Security Professional. It's like the project management professional equivalent in cybersecurity, so really absolute almost must-have if you're in that area. Very challenging certification, so this subject will help you prepare for that. It's very much based around that curriculum, and by the way, the latest curriculum in that area, not the, we've got to keep up to date. We found our students tend to get a bit upset if we tell them we're helping them prepare for a certification and then they go to sit it and our stuff is out of date. But again, because we're at university, we can do things like be able to justify key elements of an operation security, or be able to compose a business continuity plan. Again, very difficult to do, even in the CISSP, by the way, very, very challenging exam, that one. In a multi-choice, pretty hard to assess that, but we can do it because we can set it in the assessment for the subject. So again, saying it's certainly challenging, but it's your type of doing two things here. You're helping you to prepare for the certification. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you're certainly aimed at helping you prepare for it, but also assessing you to another and different level within the university subject. So that's it. Just we'll move out to the background to IT Masters. Remember I said I was CEO IT Masters, and I'm also an adjunct at CSU. Just the background to the partnership. We approached with Microsoft in tow, not in tow, I suppose it's the wrong way. So we approached Charles Sturt with Microsoft in 2002, and with the concept of integrating, at the time, their most popular certification, the Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer, within a university postgraduate qualification. Target audience was industry professionals who want to study part-time while working in the industry. Before 2002, they were quite separate. You did your uni or you did your certifications. Big trumpet player here. In November 2002, took a whole year before that, by the way, of accreditation and the whole process through the university system and the government for that matter. And we finally were able to announce a university master degree with the latest industry certifications for an integral part of the masters. So in this case, we started with the MCSE, Cisco CCNP, gradually expanded into other areas, as you saw with the other masters, and added the most popular certifications within it. And what do we do at IT Masters? Well, we market. I'm talking to you here. I'm talking to you about the masters. The second part is what I really enjoy, though. We research and identify opportunities for expansion. I mean, the cloud computing was a good example here. We had a number of alumni coming back to us and saying, you know, clouds, it's not going to be the be-all and end-all, but it's important and growing very rapidly, and we'd like the rest of you heard about all sorts of things. So we started the research. We got the industry advisory groups together and talked about whether was there a need for it and what would be in it. And 18 months later, we're at this stage where we've just launched it, a Master of Cloud and Virtualization. And we also, the uni does this as well, but we also help support students while they're studying for their industry certification subjects. So we have our own group of administration people and lecturers on these days, mostly alumni. You'll see an example later on, but they're working in the industry and they deliver the industry certification subjects at night. And people like Neil here to help you with the administration side of the doing your Masters as well. Okay, let's talk about why Charles Sturt. I've got to do my little sales thing here, but I'm going to make some assumptions. You've decided you want to do a master's degree on your resume. I'll show you some numbers later on. I'd definitely have a master's degree if I was in IT on my resume. One of the best investments you'd ever make. Second assumption is you want to study via distance education. You don't have the time, inclination to go into a classroom, even 1 or 2 nights a week. Maybe you've got to study, you've got to travel for your work, or maybe you get a lot of social interaction during the day. You don't need it at night. You just want to sit and get your Masters done, albeit we do have lots of interaction online. But yeah, so I'm going to make that assumption. And while you're studying for your Masters, you would like to cover current technologies, frameworks, or platforms. My experience of doing my Masters is some of it was fine, but when they got into the technology side of it, it was pretty out of date, and people got very, very upset when that happened. They're working in the industry. Worse still, a lot of them got very bored at that stage. So we've gone to a lot of trouble here to try to make sure the current technologies, frameworks and platforms, frameworks given like the Project Management Institute core body of knowledge are included, technologies like the latest cybersecurity certifications are included in it. And you'll see again the impact on the numbers that has. You want to do that just based on your assumptions. You want to do distance ed? Well, I'd go to have a good look at the market leader, and that is easily Charles Sturt University. In terms of got over, what's that, about 22,000 studying by distance education. We've been doing, would you believe, distance ed for nearly 50 years now. All paper-based when it started, but very much incredibly sophisticated online studying environment these days. And why much you do IT? Well, we were well down in the, well down, I can tell you, when we first approached Charles Sturt. Have a look at it now. We're starting to dominate the field of IT postgraduate education. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about part-time, so working professionals who want to study for their master's degree part-time. So you've voted with your feet in terms of enrolments, and that, by the way, doesn't include all the project management people and all of the management people. They are just straight technology students there. That's the way the government records it, so I've just included those because they're irrefutable, those numbers. And you would like to study using current technologies. And I can't emphasise how important this is. We keep ourselves honest in this area because, as I said, it gets a bit nasty if we tell them we're helping you prepare for industry certs and we're not up to date with our content. Lots of complaints coming back if we did that. So we're forced to keep our content right up to date. And as I said, we use industry-based lecturers. Yeah, people that are actually working in project management, cybersecurity, networking, internetworking, and you know, as I said, we keep saying to them, look, when you're doing a lecture, say, today when I had this issue, this is what we did about it. Well, last week we had this issue. Yeah, it's very, very important with the frenetic rate of change in the industry that these people are working with the latest technology. And that's half of it, as I said, and the other half is university lecturers, which will take you well outside your normal boundaries of how you think, looking at things in a lateral way, and being able to argue different points of view and that type of stuff. So what's the most valuable? Well, I talked to thousands of, probably thousands, at least hundreds of graduates at graduation, and we get a mixture. I mean, some of them will say the industry-based stuff was the most enjoyable. A lot of the others, and quite a few, will say the academic university stuff was really incredibly valuable to them. How much study? In case you're just sitting there thinking, well, it depends on your experience level. Obviously, if you've got lots of experience in cybersecurity or networking and you're doing the initial subjects, you're going to not find it that challenging. And definitely have a look at that when you enrol. You're normally advised to start with the fundamentals type stuff. Not that fundamental, but it'll be lower level certification based stuff. You start with that and you'll find that gives you a real chance to get into the study mode, which is the most challenging. Is the first subject you ever do. It always is, and once you get through them, it gets into a mode of study. I looked up some stats the other day, and nearly 25% of our students come back and do another qualification. I asked them at graduation, saying, well, you must be so relieved to be finished, your partners must be relieved. Well, usually their partners are, but so many of them talk about, I've now got into the mode of it, I'm actually quite enjoying it. What's next? What can I do next and move on? So but again, everyone says they struggle with the first couple of subjects, so that's the challenging part. How many hours? 6 to 12 hours per subject. Again, depends enormously on experience level. I've seen very experienced people do a foundations, fundamentals type subject with not many hours at all per week, so don't be put off by that, but you will get to a stage where you're going to be needing to spend that type of time as it ramps up a bit. Definitely okay to drop back to one subject or take leave. You just need to send an email before census date, which is 4 weeks into the session, saying, hey, it's all got a bit much, work's taken off, or my partner would like to say hello to me occasionally, or something like that, or we've got to do some travel, or something's happened. Charles Sturt are fantastic that way, I can assure you. It's not a problem. Just drop back and even do no subjects and take a session off. Almost everyone does it on the way through at some stage or another, and then just come back into the next session. Fees and charges, $31.50 per subject. So I said 12 subjects. You can do the math there. Obviously less if you get credit. It's due at the beginning of each session. Should be tax deductible if you work in the industry, and if your accountant says no, you better possibly talk to another accountant, because if you're an industry professional studying something that's applicable to you, it's definitely tax deductible, Australian citizen, and it's GST exempt, and includes everything. We don't make you buy other things outside it. In fact, we advise you not to. You're going to be busy enough anyway. You'll get everything you need to complete your study. And yes, there's your first academic term to learn for you after session. We've already covered session. Here's another one for your richest census. 4 weeks in of the 14-week session. This is your get out stakes date, and you'll be warned of it. Say, look, if you don't want to go on, you need to advise us, and you won't be charged for the session. Normally, that means people, if you get textbooks, you'd hold on to them until next time it comes around, or you might decide you want to do another elective subject, not that one. You'd need to return them if that's the case, unless they're ebooks, of course. I don't know what happens here. Neil, you there?
Yes, I am, Martin. So the ebooks, I think we would cancel access to them, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, thanks, mate.
It's not a big drama.
I knew I'd find a curly question for you. That's good. If you're an Australian citizen, you'd be crazy not to use this, and everyone does. You would use fee help to fund your studies, or it's a government study loan. It's interest-free, but indexed to CPI. So even if you had your dough, you'd probably be better off to stick it in some sort of reasonably safe, very safe, hopefully, investment. You'll get better than CPI. It covers all your tuition fees. Just the thing here, because we get people come back to us and they've been to an accountant and they said, oh, there's a 25% loan fee and it's not tax deductible. Well, it's not right. This is full fee postgraduate study. You need to tell them that the undergraduate loan fee, for instance, the 25% definitely does not apply. And your repayments begin at approximately, it's a bit more than that, probably 55K these days. So it comes straight out of your wages. But absolutely, to actually use it, you get a note from the uni saying, how would you like to pay? And then you tick a box saying, I would like the government to pay on my behalf, and that's fee help, that's your study loan. Admission, now Neil's an expert in this area, but I'll talk about it. You can get in two ways. You've got an undergraduate bachelor's degree, you can get into a master's. It's normal. Up to about 10 years ago, it was about the only way to get into a master's degree at a university. But lo and behold, the wheels turn, and today the universities, particularly Charles Sturt, will recognise your industry certification. They're not going to make you go back and do a 24-subject bachelor's degree, which is designed for people that don't know anything about the industry, and you probably drive everyone crazy during the study anyway, by knowing more than definitely the students and possibly the lecturers. So we recognise industry experience, and and we call it the graduate, oh, it's not corticated. My spell check hasn't worked. It's called the Graduate Certificate Pathway. Right? And the way that works is you do the first part of your master's, the first 4 subjects, and you do graduate certificate. I think I've got another slide. Yeah. A graduate certificate is the first 4 subjects out of the 12, and providing you pass those 4 subjects, you can roll directly into your master's, or you can take a break and come back later on. You get credit for all of the 4 subjects you've done. So you actually get 2 qualifications instead of 1. And because you're alumni, because you've completed your graduate certificate, you also get, Neil, is this correct, 10% off your fees? Is that right?
That's correct. 10% for graduate discount.
So Neil, you'd almost be better off to do this anyway, would you? Just do your graduate certificate and then roll into your master's?
Yeah, there's no disadvantage, no extra subjects, plus you get the discount. We'll arrange the transfer from the Grad Cert to the master's for you, unless you're going to have a big gap in which you would apply online, which is we'd have all your material anyway, so that'd be easy.
And if you can even do a graduate certificate in one area and then move across to a master's in the other. The only proviso there is you need to make sure the subjects that you study are also in the master's, otherwise you won't get credit for them when you go into the master's. But well worth a look at. It's fully accredited, articulates to the corresponding master's with full credit, and you could, lo and behold, you could be graduating in only 8 months. Okay, let's have a look at credit. Credit's available 3 ways. It used to be 2, but we've got 3 now. So credit is available for industry certifications now. Neil's a guru in this. It's so complicated these days because there's so many certifications and they're all changing, and so it's almost a full-time job keeping up to date with what the hell's going on, assessing them, getting approval from the uni. But I think we do. Well, I know of no other uni that does anything like it in terms of recognition, and we're pretty up to date with the mainstream stuff. If you've got a certification that's not recognised, and you think we could look at providing you apply, we're willing to have a look at it. In most cases, if it's a rigorous one, the university is pretty good. They approve it. You can also get a credit for academic studies. So if you've done a subject postgraduate level that's similar, looks very similar to one of the others, you read the thing and say, I did that at such and such a uni and it was within 10 years. Contact us again. Very reasonable about doing it. And the third way, which is a new way, IT Masters run every month or 2, we run free short courses. Their purpose is to give you a bit of a taste for what it's like at studying at uni. And providing you've done 3 of them live and you pass the assessment, you can get up to 1 subject. It's only 1 subject available, whereas there's up to a total of up to 6 available out of 12. But this one, the short courses, you can only get 1. But it's certainly a credit and all helps to reduce your amount of time till you graduate. As I said, maximum total credit, this is, all unis are the same, is 50% or 6 out of the 12 subjects for your Masters. If you're not sure about that, well, in fact, even if you think you are sure, I'd suggest you go up and fill out a form on the IT Masters website. We get a couple of thousand of these a year. it again keeps Neil busy because he assesses them all and then comes back and tells you how much credit you would be applicable for. When can you start? Well, end of January. Well, sorry, Neil, can you cut in? Can you give me the dates again? What are the dates for the session 1 intake? Neil?
Yep, I'm here. I'm just double checking.
You nodded off, didn't you?
No, I did not. The first session starts next Monday. We can still take applications and get you started next week. There is a session 2 that starts in July, runs to October, and then the Christmas session over Christmas, November to February. So students can start in any session. Not every subject runs every session, but there'll be always a pathway whenever you start.
And so that's obviously in university's time frame, that's incredibly soon, but you still can, if you're interested in session 1, but you need to get a wriggle on here. I mean, I would suggest, we'll give you, Neil will talk to you at the end and we'll give you a contact, is you need to email us straight away and Neil will help you fast track your application to make that type of time frame, because that is, we're not talking about a commercial training course here, we're talking about university, so we need to get your paperwork in and get it organised, but it's possible. And then there's the other 2 intakes, if you missed that one. Okay, what's your return on investment? Why would you think about doing a master's degree? Well, this is from the latest census data, which is 2006. The latest one, 2011, will become available in a few months' time. What you've got to fill in, and you wouldn't want to fib on your census because all sorts of people are looking at it and they do warn you about the fine. So you've got to put down, A, are you working in the IT industry? And if you are, what part of it? And if you, then you need to tell them how much you're earning and what level of qualification. So from all of that data, without names, mind you, we just get the raw data here, we can tell the difference in earnings in IT. And they're significant. They're much more than I thought they would when I first asked for this data, is that people without a degree of any kind, and you compare it all the way up to postgraduate, over a 25-year career, about 600,000 difference, which is a fantastic return on investment for your dough, and that doesn't take into account what you might learn on the way through. All the beer you didn't drink because you were busy studying. I mean, there's all sorts of advantages to it. So, okay, let's have a look at the outcomes. I'll just wrap up with this. You get a fully accredited master's level degree from Sturt University. You're going to prep for a range of industry certifications. Varies across the different masters, but in most cases it'll be at least 3 or 4 industry certs you'd be prepared for. Again, it's up to you whether you actually go and sit them, but you certainly will be well and truly on the way to getting them. And I attempted a bit of a joke here. Alumni and students, you get 25% on the university wines, which is a beautiful drop. The CSU winery is famous for their wines, so it's a great way to incent you. Maybe you do your grad cert like we talked about, and then your alumni, then you can just do an incentive scheme of a bottle per subject or something. Okay, now we'll just open it up to questions, which, Neil, people have been typing in any questions that you thought might be worth sharing with anyone? You had any questions?
I only had the one so far, Martin, which I answered. Was there any income maximum you can have to get fee help loan? But as long as you're an Australian citizen, you can get access to that, so that's not a problem.
All right. Anyone that's still out there, if you want to type in any questions, or do you think we should try the microphone, Neil? I don't know. No? Doesn't sound like there's any further questions.
I've got another one, Martin. If I want to study a grad cert, is the same dates as the masters? Yes, the subjects are identical on the grad cert as the masters. So, 50% of our students wouldn't have a degree, roughly, and they would do the grad cert, then the masters. But they'd be doing the same subject with you if you're doing grad cert or a masters, same starting dates, etc. So that's answered that question.
But even if you've got a degree, it sounds like it's worthwhile considering doing the Grad Cert anyway. I can't see a downside.
No, there's none at all. So if you're in IT and you've got 2 years IT experience, I can get you into most courses. We have a graduate certificate of industry computing with 2 years IT experience. I can get you into that, and on completion I can move you to a master's. So if you think you're not eligible, you may very well be, just give me a chat, call me. You can email that number on the screen, either that email address on the screen. I will respond tomorrow with the late deadlines. And I'll also email you credit maps to look at what you've done if you fill that form in, or you just give me a call on that number there, that free call number in Australia. And There's another one here I've got, Martin. Is there credit available for the Grad Cert for industry certs? Yes, there's a maximum credit of 2 on the graduate certificate and 6 on the master's. So you could get up to 2 credits on the 4-subject graduate certificate. So, you know, with 2 credits you could finish your graduate certificate in 1 session. So they're the same credit map for the master's and the graduate certificate, except there's more available on the master's. Okay, if you pass, just checking here. Okay, someone's asked, if you pass the Grad Cert subjects without credit, does the credit from the Grad Cert subjects count towards the 50% maximum credit? No, they're called articulated courses. So if you do the Grad Cert in networking, say, you move to the Masters, the 4 subjects that you completed on the Grad Cert are graded. So if you got a distinction, or they don't count towards credits, they just, you keep your original grade from the Grad Cert to the Masters and would not count towards the 50% maximum credit.
So, sorry Neil, I'm a bit, sorry, I'm a bit confused here. So you could claim 2 subjects of credit in the Grad Cert, and then that's, you go on into your Masters and you could then claim a further 4, is that right?
That's correct, but the other 2 subjects that you completed when you move to the Masters are not counted as credits. They are graded on the Masters,
yes, okay.
Which means you get, yeah.
Just a word on the grading there. They have a thing called grade point average, GPA, at universities all around the world, I think. And so it's out of 7, I think, Neil, isn't it? Maximum of 7? Pretty
Correct.
Sure. And the top performing student gets the yearly graduation prize. Scott Anderson again got the prize for his year. I think it was probably the only graduate in that course anyway, so that wouldn't have been too hard, but he had a very high GPA. So you see people with 4 or 5 high distinctions, and they're going to have you know, well over 6 out of 7 as a possible 7. So.
I'm just looking, Martin, to see if there's any more questions. Does the fee help apply for Grad Certs? Yes, it does. Grad Cert and Masters has fee help if you're an Australian citizen. I think that's about it, Martin. So if anyone wants to email that address there or fill in the Am I Eligible form on our IT Masters site, itmasters.edu.au, we'll get back to you with a personalised email, or give us a call and I'll chat and help you if you want to start this session, or any time this year or next year. We can chat about it. I also get many questions. How does, you know, what support do I get? Online, you get access to the uni's teaching area, which is fantastic, and I can show you that as well.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'll just say, yeah, go ahead, Martin.
No, you go, Neil. You're in first.
I'm just saving the questions to make sure I got all, so I can respond to anyone I did not answer, but I think I got most. Over out, Martin.
All right, and just a final word here. Again, if you're interested in session 1 and you never start, you never finish, that's the truth of it. So if you've got even a bit of an interest there, you can start with 1 subject, line it up. Neil can help you with this, with something you know a fair bit about already. Shouldn't be too onerous if that's the case. And put your toe in the water, give it a go. But you need to get a move on if that's the case. You know, they used to close the a couple of months before, but these days they allow us to take it up close, but it means we need to fast track your application. So email that address there and say, I need Neil to help me with getting this through in time to the session 1 start. Okay, I'll leave it there. Hope to see you as students, and really hope to see you at graduation in a few years' time. Otherwise, good luck with whatever you end up doing. Thanks very much.